There were a lot of close games last night, and it was a good night for basketball. I myself have not watched every game because there were like 10 games last night. Can't watch them all in one night, obviously, but I'm gonna just kind of recap for the people that didn't watch. I want to, kind of start doing this when I can in the mornings. So people who weren't really aware, maybe went to bed early, want to, know what happened. We're gonna go, spend a minute or two per game, kind of just saying what happened. But first game of the night was the Rockets and the Raptors, and the Rockets handled the Raptors pretty well. KD had 31. Jabari had 25, 5 and 5 on 50% from the field, made four threes, no turnovers. Um, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm a big Jabari fan. Um, and I think he's going to be a big part to what they can do this year. Sengun had 18, 8 and 9. He was 6 for 8. Again, KD had 31 and 3 blocks. Amen, 18, 9 and 7. Steven Adams had 12 rebounds, including 8 offensive, which seems to be a staple for them. Josh Okogie's given them some good minutes over the past couple of games. Again, I wasn't a fan through that first game, but he's picked it up. Um, and then the Raptors, just it's been a struggle. They are currently 1-4. They won that first game, right? They won that first game versus the Hawks, and then they lost to the Bucks, Mavericks, Spurs, and Raptors. But Scotty Barnes and Ingram look good. Barnes had 31 points. Ingram had 29. They both shot over 60% from the field. Um, RJ Barrett has not looked perfect to start the year at all. Through the season, he's averaging 19 and 4, but he's 36% from three, which isn't actually that bad, but he's had some boneheaded plays. Um, it's like the game before versus the Spurs, he had 25, but tonight he only had 10. Then the game before, he only had 16. So I'm very intrigued by this Raptors team because I thought it was going to be a lot of your turn, my turn from the wings because there's not a lot of cohesion over there, if you will. But nonetheless, the next game we've got was the Pistons and the Magic. The Magic are also now 1-4. Um, I don't know why balloons are coming up. I'm sorry. They are 28th in the league in 3-point field goal percentage. They are 22nd in opponent field goals. So their defense hasn't been very good either. Their offense is 22nd as well. Free throw percentage is 25th. Assisting is 29th. Like they have not looked like the team that they could be this year. While Detroit, I mean, Cade had 30 and 10, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 6 rebounds. He shot pretty well from the field, other than 1% from three, 50% from the field. Sar Thompson's had a pretty good season to start off. He had 12, 11, and 6. Um, and he's had over double digits every game except last game versus Cleveland. Duran's been a monster the past couple games for them. He had 21 and 13. He wasn't as good versus Cleveland, but then versus Boston 3 days ago, he had 24 and 17. So I think they're going to be relying on him a lot. I wonder what the jump shooting for this team is. Like, there's no way that the Magic should have a worse jump shooting percentage than the Detroit Pistons, who has lineups where they are playing Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, and Ron Holland all at the same time. Um, Karis LeVert is back. He played this for his first game of the season. No, second game. He played for Chicago in their opener, but he hasn't looked great. Now, granted, he's on a minutes restriction, it seems, because he had a hamstring injury, but Pistons handled the Magic pretty easily. Pallad, 24, 11, and 7. 10 for 17 from free throws. Not great. Franz, 22 and 7. But outside of that, I mean, Tristan Da Silva's had a pretty fantastic start to the season. Um, he had their first game, he had 16, then he had 15, and then he had 8, and then he had a donut, and then now he's got 15 last night. But they got to figure some things out. Desmond Bain was 12 points, 4 for 15. He's shooting 26% from 3 on the year, 43% from the field. And if you know Desmond Bain, you know that isn't just not something he does. Last year, he shot 39% from the field, and the year before, he shot 38%. So he is not done. It's like people go to Orlando and they just don't do what they're supposed to. I need to pick it up though because we got some other games. Boston, Cleveland. Boston beats Cavs 125-105. It's 2 wins in a row for Boston to get them back up into 2 and 3. They are 10th in the East, but they have been very good at holding their. They are second in the league in opponent points allowed per game, only behind the Spurs. Offensive field goal percentage, they're holding the team to the worst field goal percentage. Turnovers, they average the least turnovers per game so far this season, but 3-pointers have been rough. 3-point field goal percentage has been rough. Same with field goal percentage, and the offense is 20th. Not great. I'm surprised their rebounding is 14th in the league because rebounding has been a big issue through the first 3-4 games of the year before tonight. Evan Mobley had 19, 11, and 4. He did not look great. He was getting shots up. He looked like he was getting to some spots that he liked, but they just were not falling. Jalen Tyson was absolutely huge this game for the Cavs. He had 19, 5, and 3 steals. He shot 8 for 11 from the field, only missed 3 threes. Mitchell only scored from the 3-point arc. He missed both his free throws, and he missed his 3 other normal field goals that weren't threes tonight. He was a -6 on the night, so not good for him. Jared Allen looked decent. He had 16 and 6. DeAndre Hunter had 18, but he shot 5 for 17, 3 for 12 from 3. So in the first half, I will say that this was like a 3-point masterclass from both these teams because Sam Hauser was like 4 for 4 in the first quarter. Then Donovan Mitchell was like 5 for 5. But I mean, Cleveland ended up shooting 17 for 52 from 3 in a game that didn't go to overtime. And then Boston was 21 for 57 from 3. Brown had 30, who's been somewhat consistent over the past couple games. He had 30. He had 15 versus New Orleans, but that was a blowout. And then he had 41 versus Detroit in a loss. So he's had a decent start to the season. Sam Hauser was 7 for 13 from the field, 7 for 13 from 3. He only shot threes, and he was, other than Jaylen Brown, Sam Hauser has been the most reliable player on the Celtics this season. The Celtics only had 8 turnovers last night, which is huge. They actually won the rebounding battle. They had 18 offensive rebounds to Cleveland's 11, which is, again, huge. And then they actually won the second chance points battle too, which is something they haven't been able to do. Keita had 10 and 13. Josh Minott was huge. He had 11 points, 14 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block, including 5 offensive rebounds. Pritchard and Derek White. I mean, Pritchard had 10 and 10. White had 19, but they were 4 for 20 from 3 combined. They were 9 for 33 from field goal percentage. Their shooting percentages has been awful this season. So there's that. Atlanta beats Brooklyn by 5, 117-112. Jalen Johnson led the way with 23, 7, and 5. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had probably not his best game of the season, maybe, but 18, 3, and 3. Still didn't shoot it a good percentage. Porzingis was playing this game. Luke Kennard actually had 17. But Dyson Daniels hasn't looked great this season. He's only averaging 5, 5, and 3, and 2 steals. 31% from the field, 33% from 3, 50% from the free throw line. He hasn't scored double digits this season. His season high is 8 points. So he needs to pick it up. But Michael Porter Jr. had 32, Claxton had 18 and 11, and Cam Thomas, who's had a pretty good season actually so far, was 6 for 20, only 19 points, but he's been kind of on fire their first few games. But the last two games he had 9 and then 19. Not great. The Bulls remain undefeated, 4-0. They are first in the Eastern Conference as they beat the Sacramento Kings and a lot of familiar faces in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Um, the Sacramento Kings offense actually is almost the worst in the league. You would think with all the personnel that they would their offense would be fine. Their defense is actually way better than their offense has been, which I don't think will stay like that the entire season. But the Kings also fall to 1-4 on the season. Their only win came against the Utah Jazz, and it was by 1 point from a Sabonis tip-in. But Giddey had 28 and 12. He's looked pretty good to start the year. He's shooting 43% from three. Again, who knows if that's going to stay like that, but the real star of the show has been Modest Buzelis, who's averaging 17 and 5. Has really taken on a lot more responsibility other than the Orlando game where he only had 3 points, but he only played 12 minutes. He's had a very good start to the year. Same with Vooch, who is averaging 18, 13, shooting 50% from three through their first 5 games. Probably his worst game, or I don't know, not close to his worst game of the year. Kevin Huerter also had 18. But Sacramento, man, 7 for 28 from three. Now, granted, they don't have a lot of great 3-point shooters when you think that they're playing Westbrook a lot. They're playing DeMar DeRozan. They're playing Sabonis. And I mean, Schroeder can hit it, but he was 1 for 3 tonight. LaVine was even 2 for 8. He had 30. Sabonis at 18 and 11. It's a weird collection of talent over there. But one of the first close games of the night, Dallas versus the Pacers. Brandon Williams dropped 20 after his news yesterday. But they were also 5 for 24 from three. Wow, Dwight Powell. I almost said Drake Powell. Dwight Powell had an 18-point game, where he shot 12 free throws last night. Cooper Flagg, who hasn't had the greatest start to his rookie year, had 15 and 10. Not a lot of offense this game when you think Clay went 2 for 10, 1 for 6 from three. But there was no did AD didn't play tonight. Oh, he did. He got hurt. He must have in 7 minutes and 4. He had 4 points, 4 rebounds. So I was not that's one of the games I did not watch. But then we've got another very close game. The Blazers beat the Jazz by 2, 136 to 134 in a very high scoring game where Drew drops 27 and 8, which which is his season high for sure. Looked pretty good. Toumani Camara had 17. Jeremy Grant had 18. Danny at 19. Shane Sharp at 18. They got a lot from a lot of people. They had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who were 3 or less points away from 20, including Drew, who had 27. Markkanen's had a pretty good stretch here. He had 32 and 6 stocks tonight. Walker Kessler had 28 and 12. Keontae George, who I'm believing in more and more as the season goes on, had 29 and 8, 6 turnovers, but he was 15 for 15 from the line. Ace Bailey only played 15 minutes. So yeah, there's that. And then the Blazers win by 2. Blowout. Pelicans have had a rough start to the year. Nuggets beat them by 12, 34 points. Again, that's back-to-back 30-point losses for the Pelicans, where Jeremiah Fierce had 21, and has looked like the best player on the Pelicans, because other than that, Zion had 11, Yves Missy had 10, and nobody else scored double digits. So not too much to talk about there. Jokic had a triple-double, 21, 12, and 10. He's leading the league in rebounds and assists through the first week or so of basketball, but the scoring isn't there yet, obviously. Christian Brown, 17, Jamal Murray, 17. Um, so that's great. I mean, and Jokic only had to play 28 minutes. That's the value of having a Valanciunas on the team to back him up. um, and then this guy who I've had in the back this entire video, and you're probably wondering why, because this is not from his 50-point game. But he had a game winner, walk-off floater with 1.1 seconds left, 116 to 115. The Lakers beat the Wolves, I believe, for the second time this season already. Yes. The Wolves are already 0-2 to the Lakers. Austin Reeves played 40 minutes and had 28 points and 16 assists. Did not shoot very efficient. He was 9 for 24 from the field and 3 for 11 from 3. But only 3 turnovers to 16 assists is pretty damn good. Jake LaRavia had his best game of the season by far, where he drops 27 points, 8 rebounds, and was 10 for 11 from the field, 5 for 6 from 3. DeAndre Ayton, 17 and 10 on 8 for 11 shooting. Rui has been pretty reliable through the first week or so of basketball. He's shooting 16 and a half points per game on 60% from the field, 40% from 3. So that's a huge help. While Minnesota, obviously, no Anthony Edwards for a couple weeks is going to hurt with a right hamstring strain, but Julius Randle, 33, 5, and 6. Jaden McDaniels gave them a 30 bomb, and they were both pretty efficient. But outside of that, you had 14 from DiVincenzo, but not much help in other places. Naz Reid has not looked great this season, only 10 points, 40% from the field, 25% from 3. And he's had 3 games this year where he's had 6 points or less already. So they need a little bit more from him, especially if, I'm sure they didn't want to necessarily play Rudy Gobert this whole game, but and then the last game of the year or of the night is another game winner from Ja Morant, who hit a floater with 7 seconds left. And the Grizzlies beat the Suns 114 to 113. Grizzlies moved to 3-2 on the season, and the Suns go down to 1-4. Jaws looked very good in the games that he has played, or I guess he's played every game. I don't know why I thought he hadn't, but he's averaging 23 and 6. 43% from 3 and 19% from 3 is not great, but Ja Morant, I think eye test wise, has looked very good. Jaren had 18 and 4 stocks. Santi Aldama had 14 and 10. Cedric Coward has maybe outside of VJ Edgecombe been my favorite rookie to watch this season because he has been exactly what they need, averaging 16 points, 65% from the field, and 65% from 3, which leads the league so far. He has looked phenomenal for them, and I would not be surprised if at some point, I mean, did he start this game? I don't even know if there's a way I could see that. No, so Cedric Coward has not started, but I wouldn't be surprised if KCP falls off or doesn't have a great season at some point. I would not be surprised if they start him and Jalen Wells together, because he's been everything they need and more. And then the Suns, who I actually I don't think I've watched any Suns this year, which that needs to change. But Mark Williams, 20, 12, 4 steals on 9 for 12 from the field. I'm a Mark Williams guy, so I like it. He's had good back-to-back games, including a game-winning tip-in versus Utah the other day, where he had 25. But Booker, 32. He's averaging 29 on the year. And he's had a pretty good start to the year where he's dropped 30 in 4 out of their 5 games. Colin Gillespie had 14 on 5 for 10. Royce O'Neal, 18 points on 6 for 12, 6 for 11 from 3. And Grayson Allen had 14 as well. But a bunch of close games, and I'm definitely going to go and rewatch some of these games that were close. That, like this Grizzlies game, I did not watch at all, but I'm definitely going to, especially in that last quarter, to really hone in on what went wrong. But that's all the games for last night, October 29th. Let me know if you guys like me doing this, because I kind of want to do this every morning, so get it out. But thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe on the way to 1,000 subscribers. Tune in for more.